Thanks, Cam. When we were putting together the booklet, what we wanted to do was to bring alive and place in our community those 15 men who died. We didn't just want them to be names on the monument. We didn't just want to produce a list of people who died. We wanted to bring their lives and their families alive. So as we began to research, you will have picked up from Cam there that there were five Eglinton grandsons who died. One was called Mason, one was called Hocking, three were called Eglinton. But those grandparents lost five of their children from this district. And as we began to explore further, you began to pick up on things about who was a cousin to who. So there were cousins to Nortons, and there were cousins to Brockoffs, or up on the wall at the end, we did a relationship map. And there are, in fact, only three of those men who didn't also lose cousins or brothers. So thinking what that does to your family, not only to you lose a son, but maybe to lose 5 grandsons. What that would do to your family is what we've tried to put into the book, to bring it bigger than just a list of deaths and a list of fighting. The other thing when gathering the book is trying to find out those stories. For some of those soldiers was really, really hard. And I had, for some unknown reason, formed a personal attachment to Ollie Pollard. He's pretty good looking. But we had very little on him. We didn't have a good photo. We just had his picture out of a football photo. And it was only in the second to last week before we took the book to the printer that someone contacted me who had letters that Ollie wrote to his mother when he left Australia. Read those that are in the book. Ollie says they left Port Adelaide, they needed someone to stay below deck to do whatever when they were leaving Port Adelaide. So he volunteered because he had no one who was going to go down to wave him off. After they left port, his sergeant came to him and gave him a gift from the sergeant's sister, who had specifically created a gift for the man who had to stay downstairs. They went to Fremantle. He managed to get up to see Perth, thought it was really good. They went to Africa. He writes back stories of the fruit because he was a farmer. So he's writing back stories of the apples and the fruit. He's writing back stories about the houses that the black people live in and the houses that the white people live in. He's telling his mum they're having a fantastic time and shares the story of a football match because most of the soldiers on that boat were picked up in Western Australia. It was Western Australia versus the rest of Australia, which it kind of is now politically too. So he writes the story about that. He gets to England. He explains where they're staying at Salisbury, and he explains that Salisbury Plain isn't a plain. He said it reminds me of the Woodside Hills, and that it's white chalky mud that sticks to your feet. He talks about the cold. He talks about, at one point, not being as cold as he thought it would be. He takes a weekend off and goes to Scotland. He gets a tour of London on the way through, and all the time, and I think this probably reflects his nature, he's writing this upbeat story for his mum about the big adventure they're having, the great trip. In fact, it sounds like he's on a tour. And then he goes to France and dies. And we have, as one of the letters in there, the letter that his mother sent him that got returned, deceased. So we've got Ollie's letters of going on his trip, we've got the mother's letter, returned deceased, and then we've got some lovely excerpts, or in one case the whole letter, of people who wrote to the mother. So Ern Green and Stan McLaren were in the same debating team as Ollie Pollard, and they were over in France as well. They both wrote back to the mother, and they both expressed their grief because they'd grown up at school, they'd grown up doing the debating team, the agricultural bureau, the football, the cricket. They were mates, and their mate had died. Also moving is a letter from a woman who never met Ollie, but her husband was his sergeant. And he told her, and she lived at Kerry's Gully, to write to the mother. Those things bring that young man alive. The stories that we have of the boys here, well, they're not all boys, we keep saying young boys, Ollie was 30-something, are the men who went to fight and what that left behind, the pain that the mother, the pain that the girlfriends, the pain that Mrs. Lawson, who had a young son, they're the things we wanted to bring alive. So if you haven't picked up the book that you've ordered, please do so before you go home. If you'd like a copy of the book, we can take post orders now as well, if you want to post it to you, and we'll print some more. We've also got some USBs, and we'll stick it on our Anzac website sometime during the next week for those who like to download. And you can download it for nothing. So that's up to you. You may find an error. We've proofread it that many times. Please let us know, because at some time in the future we'll get time to do an update. So if you've got more photos that come out of the woodwork, like one that came out of the woodwork this week, where is she? Let us have them, because we'll still collect it for the history group and we might be able to do a second edition at some point. Thank you everyone for coming.
Okay, the final part of this afternoon is the raffle draw. So we've got a print. Tom Corley is the artist of this print. It's just up on that wall. I think it's Simpson Stocking.
Yes, ma'am. Someone might like to hold it up. Can you pick it up and hold it up for us?
Give him a good shake.
Okay, so now we've got Sergeant Smith. He's going to draw the raffle.
Come on, Green.
Oh, yeah, you found it.
Okay, we've got an orange C, number 52, and the name's Liz.
Hope Liz is here.
So orange C, 52. Congratulations. So here you go, Liz. It's a lovely print. Thank you. Okay, that concludes the formal part of today. Have another look around, get together. If you can get a few remnants of, just say, the McDonald group might want to stand together and have photos taken as a group. Take that opportunity while you're here to get together and take some photos. And I'll just find out what else we need to let you know.
There are so many entities here. If they want to gather in the back corner to make sure they can actually see each other.
Okay, so the Eglinton has a big group of people here. There's 3 men that lost their lives in the war. So we have a lot of representatives from the Eglinton family. Can you please congregate down the far right corner after I finish? Now, just take your time, have a look around, join up if you want to be a member of our history group, because I think we do some fun things and we get together and do a lot of research. I know we have a lot of hard work ahead of us in future projects, but we also share a lot of laughs and a few tears when we, find little stories out. I've loved doing what we've done. It's a very special thing for today to occur and remember those men that lost their lives for us. So thank you.